Hello, everybody. This is Daniel Kwang-Ju here. I'm going to be presenting pretty much a speech. It's called Message to White and Korean Members. I will be explaining at the end of the video why I keep on doing these types of videos. But without further ado, here we go. Now, today, this might be my most controversial video yet. But this is continuous truth about the history of white and Korean members. There's this video that has been going around of these couples in the early 80s getting matched by Reverend Moon. There were a lot of black and white couples that got matched. But where are they? It seems like they didn't last. Why? Because a huge majority of white members did not want to be with black members. Black members were willing to get matched with someone white. So what was the alternative for the white person? Asian, mostly Japanese. You will see a lot of white men and Japanese women in our church. Now, the purpose of that type of matching is to eliminate racism and create a more peaceful world in the future. Did they really resolve the racism in their heart being with someone Asian? That's a big question. The same issue happened with a lot of Korean men. A lot of them got Japanese wives and made it work. But there were also a lot of them that did not want to do that. They either stuck with their own, or the alternative was a white woman. Japanese were the ones willing to be with Koreans. It's interesting that black members and Japanese members were a little similar in this way. Again, did that restore the racism in the Korean man by being with a white woman? So what happens eventually? Eventually, down the line, they have to get with someone that has a demographic traditionally not within their liking. But then they tell their children not to be with somebody black, South Asian, or Latino. What are you even restoring? Here is an interesting insight that I've seen in the church. Whenever I saw a white with white couple that Reverend Moon matched, they were usually really good people. And they give birth to really good children. I noticed that. My experience of racist behavior was actually not with the white families in our church. Believe it or not, I found more suspicious behavior with the white and Asian parents. Then they teach their non-originally American spouses to think the same way. Then they give birth to children that could have racist tendencies. I don't want to sound too mean, but I heard this term and it just sounds pretty accurate. They give birth to racist hybrids. It's the same thing with the Korean. Koreans probably want to be superior like the white man, or find a way to escape true growth. Koreans have no excuse. I understand that the Japanese persecuted the Korean people for 40 years, but if you want the blessing from true parents and reach your utmost potential, then you have to follow what they say. You're getting matched to that person for a reason. Foundational black Americans, we were willing to get matched to our enemy, the white woman or white man, and we suffered 10 times more than Koreans have. Not 40, 400 years. There are a lot of schools in America that are trying to change the narrative of our history and say that it was 250 years. Let's not change it. Let's deal with the reality of our history. We were raped, beat to death, made as bets on man-to-man slave fights to the death called mandingos, separated our families to different states, made us work hard labor for free, cut the arms and legs off of our children when they cry that they're tired of working. We're the big brother and sister. We truly practice Christ. I'm sick of this whole superiority politics in the church, and sweeping racism under the rug. I heard 3 stories of black pastors that worked for the church and they were doing things out of their own pocket. Examples: paying for their own trips to Korea for special events, or being a pastor in general. These leaders in America are brainwashed to think that black people are disposable and not that important. If it's somebody Asian or white, all of a sudden is somebody of importance. They get paid. I heard also 3 stories of these Korean matchmakers that match people that come to the church. I didn't know they still existed. 3 times black women, very successful, were given somebody that is not of the same standard as they are. Usually somebody with no job, nothing going for the man. I actually have been to one of their houses. She invited me and my mom over to her place. She was a dentist. She owned a really big house. It was a luxury home. A Korean matchmaker matched her to some man that had no job and nothing going for himself. I understand that economical relationships are not always true relationships because it's vulnerable to a financial bond and not a godly bond. But 3 times to black women being matched like this, it looks very suspicious. They see black people in the church as disposable, not that important. Just give them anything. Maybe just dark-skinned people in general are not that important. Here's a video of me talking of a short story I want to share about a Korean leader coming over to the United States. Some Korean leaders can also be accused for that as well. They've been doing a little bit of the same thing, sweeping it under the rug. There was one leader that came over to the United States and he had an opportunity to discuss this issue, to know about the black plight in America, how it is to be black in America, or even be black in the church. There was a conference that was going to be held, not a conference, a Zoom call that was going to be held. He was supposed to attend that. And then what happened? He didn't attend. But I wasn't surprised because that happened time and time again. It's been 40 years of this. Also, any leader that says race does not matter, we're all part of God's children. You know what? Screw that. That's just a slick way of still not dealing with the problem. Me and my wife are the only second-generation couple that has descended from 400 years of slavery. We are nearly extinct. We are the only second-gen foundational black American couple. Korean leaders are also responsible for stealing credit as well. My father-in-law, rest his soul, was an Indian pastor, originally from Kerala, India. American, but originally from there. He was very important in the church because he was one of the go-to men for coordinating religious events. It would be very organized and it would go very well. He also witnessed to very important people. Korean leaders many times would want Father Moon's approval and say they coordinated the event or made the event successful. That would frustrate him a lot. However, while they gave their report, Mother Moon would just look at my father-in-law, Godwin De Silva, and smile. She saw the BS. Korean members seem to be having a pattern where they want to do things themselves and not be around other people that are not Korean. Also, when it comes to events, they promise certain people are going to speak or perform on stage, and last minute, they change the event and don't let that person speak or perform. Sometimes they disregard a different event coordinator's efforts last minute. The event gets completely changed last minute as if to remain themselves having the credit of coordinating the event. They could seriously hurt people's hearts these ways. They do that especially in Korea. If Korean leaders and members think that they are better than others because they are Korean, they're going straight to hell. They will be the last to go to the kingdom of heaven. Because what legacy have you left behind where people can point at you and say, that person was a good person? I was told by first generation black members that Father Moon mostly put white members in leadership positions because they had a lot to restore to what they did to the black race. One of their big responsibilities was to eventually teach black members how to be leaders. But instead, they have been withholding their positions for 40 years. In the process, they also stole credit from black member missionary work. Me and my family, we still support Holy Mother Han. Members are just messing up the providence. We can't sugarcoat this anymore. There is an official stamp on the internet of what has been happening with Family Federation, aka Unification Church in USA. It's official. To all my white friends in the church that don't have these bad habits, don't worry. Continue to be the blessed, beautiful people that you are, because works speak better than words. Naturally, people will know who you are. It is crazy that we have the ultimate truth and this is how we behave. On a last note, I want to say out loud, if a church eliminates racism, gossiping, plagiarism, gatekeeping, or withholding positions, and judgment, it will significantly and dramatically thrive. And so that's pretty much my speech here. Now, I also want to end with this. So I had someone ask me, why are you doing this and putting this on blast? Just paraphrasing his words. So the reason why I'm doing this is because I want to put pressure on some of these leaders in the church here in America. And like I said in the speech, it's an official stamp on the internet. There's no excuse now. There's no reason why we don't know why membership is being stagnated. Mother eventually needs to know what is going on. Why the membership has stagnated in the church in America. She doesn't know. So eventually, this has to be known. So this is why I'm doing this. It needs to be fixed. We cannot fix any issue if we do not know the root of the problem. So I give this message out and I hope things start getting restored from here. All right. God bless.